Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in the frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy. Darling. Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Yeah, the fuzz, bro, dude. If you need to boost me up like I got boosted off this freaking sweet alien juice, dude.
I know I need to get my energy
slurp on
going.
there.
I could use some boosted alien juice.
Dude, slurp on their alien blood, baby. Because half the time the blood's fine, and the other half of the time it burns.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that, bud. So this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan, the fucking blood slurper Howard.
Yeah,
and
baby.
I'm just
alien blood.
leaves over here.
Yeah,
the human blood slurper.
Your slurper, yeah. Your leaves drowning in misery.
Yeah, nah, I'm doing great. But, doing fine. So, we, I don't know, I want to say this month, but we might go longer than a month, but we're doing, every week we're picking like a director, picking 5 of their bigger movies, and then voting on them. This last week was James Cameron, and we ended up watching you clicked on the thing, so you know, we watched Aliens.
Aliens, which is perfect.
The sequel to Alien,
we watched Alien.
Which is, I'm pretty sure, the first sequel we've watched on the podcast. Because I've specifically avoided sequels.
Wait a minute.
Until now.
Is this really the first sequel that we've watched?
I don't 100%, but I'm pretty sure because I've avoided sequels specifically because I'm like, I don't know, like I didn't put T2 because we haven't watched T1, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, and everyone would have voted for it because T2 is definitely James Cameron's best movie, so.
It probably is.
For me, it is without a doubt.
Right,
but
right. Like when it comes to like, if you're like, you know, a cinephile, what's his greatest?
It's
feat?
Everyone's T2. It's always T2.
It's always T2.
Not even for cinephiles. It's just the best action movie.
I mean that is true. Oh, dude, I wanted to ask: Is Sigourney Weaver? Is she in any of the Expendables?
Probably. I don't know.
I've never seen one. So
I thought you were gonna say, is Sigourney Weaver the same person as Jamie Lee Curtis? Because I literally, when they're young,
you think that?
Like,
dude, no,
every
full
time.
reals though. They got that like '80s hair look,
I swear
and they're
to
like
God,
really,
they're doppelgangers.
Just the sharp features, but they do, yeah, dude.
They do.
They for sure.
Anyway, Aliens, the sequel to the 1979 Ridley Scott Alien. Directed by James Cameron, is quite the change up. And I believe, good sir, that it is your week to tell the listeners / viewers at home who have not seen this movie or need a refresher. What's the breakdown? Give me the skinny.
All righty, boys and girls and non-binary and everyone out there who exists. I love you, and I will tell you about Aliens, a movie that I have fond memories for, but I'll get into that later. But
quick disclaimer. We watched, I'm pretty sure you watched the same version as me. We watched the special edition version. The director's cut. The one that was on the Plex. Yes, the one that was on the Plex was the special edition.
Oh shit, I didn't watch that version.
Oh, really?
This is the first time. This is the first time we didn't watch it. Remember, the Plex was down, and I couldn't get Plex to work, and I could only watch the movie that night. I only had one night to watch it.
I've heard the differences are massive.
Massive, because I was left wanting when I read all of the special edition features. I was like, oh fuck, that would make this movie a lot more well-rounded. But I didn't watch those, and now, oh my god, well, here we are.
Riddle me this then, just real quick.
What?
In the opening, does it have the bit about her being in cryogenic sleep for like 57 years and then her daughter died?
Yes,
because someone said they cut the daughter bit out of
They cut the
regular
bit,
version, which is a huge motivator for fucking Ripley's character, man. It's like crazy.
Dude, right here. Okay, I haven't got into it. In my notes, I wrote her reason to go back is flimsy. And so that and even though the kid wasn't necessarily enough to motivate her to go back or anything like that, but it gives a little
It
more
gives
context
more
to, like, she
context
lost everything.
to that relationship
Right.
and why she
But
and made that
Right.
relationship more interesting. So
Well,
for me,
yeah.
which I thought was like the highlight of the movie, we'll get into it more, but I was just like, how is that not in the special edition? So I guess this will be a little bit different because I watched the special edition, and this is my first time watching it, so I've never seen any other version other than this.
Oh crap! Well, and I technically have,
So I
but
don't
it doesn't
know.
count.
I don't know the differences at all. So.
Okay. Well,
other
wow,
than
this
what
is
I
gonna
other
be
than what I read online briefly, but
okay. Yeah,
so
same here.
give us the rundown, and I'll pipe in after if there's any. Well, actually,
No, there's going to be a lot because the rundown's pretty simple. I don't know how many years did you say? Was it 56, 53?
it's like 57
Yeah.
years or whatever. Who cares?
57. Yeah. So there's like several decades have passed since the first film. So, assuming that you've seen the first Alien, that's just like a simple crew, a spaceship crew. They touch down to a distress call of a spaceship. They get attacked by like some alien life form, some creature life form, and it turns out to be really bad and it's really scary, and everyone on the crew dies, and Sigourney Weaver, she's the only one that escapes. She gets into a cryogenic pod or whatever, the escape ship, and she takes off, and it's just her and her little kitty cat. They're the only ones that are left. This movie, Aliens, the one that we just watched for the pod, it opens with her being rescued by like a large like work ship. It's like a large company ship, essentially. It's like when Amazon goes up into space and they start, mining resources off of other planets. So it's a huge corporate ship. Yeah. It finds her. It's straight up like in the movie they talk about how she literally just drifts into their orbit.
She drifted into like one of the flight paths.
She could have, and which is kind of a fun idea. This movie Aliens is a lot better when you think about it later. Watching the movie, you're like, this is lifeless and boring. But later when you think about it, you're like, in the world of Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it's like
it's gonna be. I feel like we're not gonna like it as much as a lot of people. But
no, right, and that's
okay.
See, my feelings on it are like whiplash. Like I have like super fun nostalgia, and then watching it now, I'm kind of like, oh, but then when I think about Alien in its whole franchise, I'm like, oh, it's a cool addition, and it definitely like builds upon it great in a great manner. Anyways, my God, let's get to this. She gets that's the first 30 seconds of the movie. She gets found. she gets found by these guys, and then the exposition of her getting found, and she wakes up in the hospital, and they're like, you've been asleep for 1,000 years, and you just woke up. She's been asleep for like 56 years, and everyone she knows is dead and gone, and she's like really affected, and the trauma of getting attacked by the alien in the first movie is really like affected her. She's like having nightmares, and she's like, kind of like
PTSD.
Correct. And so she goes and she talks with like the money men, and they're like we need you because you're the only one with expertise on like the planet that they landed on to get the ship from. It now, after the 56 years or 57 years that have passed, it's turned into like a colony. There's like a small, like 60, 70 people colony that has been created on there, and this company builds large terraformers that make it inhabitable and all this. Do they get into the details necessarily? I can't remember what they're doing. If they're mining something on there,
they're mostly there to just
probably
like oversee the terraformer. You know what I mean?
The terraformer, right? But that's I don't remember what the necessary reason is to be on this planet, but they've terraformed this planet for colonization.
They're just terraforming
I guess,
everything that they can.
What we do.
It's probably just they don't say it, but yeah, it's probably
whatever.
Just within like the Goldilocks zone. It's like a good temperature and everything. They're like, we just need to make the air breathable. So
right. And so, anyways, that crew has been built. You learn all this through just dialogue. The corporation gets together and they're like they're briefing
now
her.
Now we're into the first 60 seconds of the movie.
First 60 seconds. Right. Really though. And then but it's just so funny because they like literally they just tell Sigourney Weaver that she needs to go back with a space marine crew so that they can go and they can do a rescue mission. And so they're going to go back, and she has to go because she has pre-existing knowledge. She's the only one that's ever touched down on this planet. Even though they don't believe her at all, they still feel like she's the most capable person to come, even though we're in the future
they
and
definitely
they have video technology where she could just be on a microphone watching video.
Yeah, they
camera footage
believe her,
telling
but
them.
the company line is nah. You know,
Sure.
like,
Right. They don't believe that she dealt with like a really hostile alien, especially because they've been there already and they've been colonizing, but just so happens as this colony's on there, they just finally got attacked by the aliens, I guess, whatever.
so
I don't know.
actually, the guy
they lost
sends
contact.
them. The guy sends them there after Ripley wakes up. I don't know if this is in the regular version. So after Ripley wakes up, she tells them about it, and so they on the down low say, "Hey, oh yeah, because that part's not in. I read that. They're talking about how they sent. That it shows a scene of the colony, and there's a bunch of people walking around the colony, and they're like, we're sending someone out to this undisclosed location to just check out some random thing."
Oh, that would totally okay.
And then later, she's like giving Brooks or whatever the guy, the money bag corporate suit shit. She's like, you sent him out there to check it out to back me up with no warning of what it was, and now this colony's gone offline because they've all been harvested by fucking aliens, like I said they would. And that's the whole reason that she's like, oh, there's people there, I better go. Even though again she didn't really need to, but
that
yeah, but
explains her motive
he
to
straight
go.
up sends them
Like
there, yeah. Because I thought
Oh
that
my
too
God.
originally. I was like, oh, they just happened to get attacked by aliens at the exact same time that they're talking about aliens. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it's because no, the dialogue is literally they called the ship and was like, okay, and then like a month passed and I'm like, oh crap, now they're offline after I sent them to the location that Ripley said is where they saw. Because it's just
Why
like
would
a
they take
huge
that out?
dude. I don't
Why would
know.
they-
That's why I
why would they
watched
take
the
it
special edition, because I went online beforehand and was like, which edition do I watch? I'm the first time I went, there's like Reddit threads about it, and they're like special edition all the way, special edition, and that's why I had the director's cut.
I rented it off of YouTube or whatever.
I can't believe
off
they
of-
cut because there is a lot of stuff you could cut. Like
There is.
there's a whole.
Well, let me get to it real quick.
There's a lot of stuff you could cut, but they cut
there is a group.
very important.
Yeah,
stuff.
like that is actual important like motivation for the plot to get her out there, because the entire time I was like, there's no reason for her to be there. Like, she's got PTSD visibly. She's like frightened. Like people are. She's like waking up in the middle of the night screaming, and people are like, "Oh my God, are you okay? You should probably go back."
Yeah.
Anyway,
it'll help is face your fears.
Yeah, right. Because that works. But immersion therapy. But
So they get these
she's fucking-
Marines and they go to into the colony.
they get a group. There's like seriously like 12 to 20 minutes of the Marines and who they are, and it's like supposed to be their camaraderie and like
Doesn't
them.
matter
At
at all. That's
doesn't
what
matter.
they should have
It's
cut.
literally it's so depressing because it's like you build these characters up and it's like and it's kind of weak anyways. Whatever. You have these characters. They're like hoorah, Space Marines. It's great. Go USA. And then they get there, and it's like within like 60 seconds, they're just annihilated. Half like what is that? There's probably 12 people, and only 4 are left after like the first encounter.
All right, get through the rest of the plot because that's one of my big complaints too. I'm just like, I thought these guys were badasses. What happened?
So they get these like really cool like Marines together, and there's you have all the archetypes of everybody, the like one badass chick that's there, and then all your basic, just pretty much boil it down to any kind of like pro-war movie. You've got those archetype characters, the ones that love getting ass and shooting guns. And so they go and they rock it, and they bring Sigourney Weaver with them, and they kind of think that she's like, they think that she's kind of like dainty and not, whatever, just like a girl, she's fragile. But then she kind of shows she's like, no, I have skills. She works that mech, and they laugh, and I love that scene. That scene's great, dude. And that mech is so fucking cool in the end. But anyways, she like shows that she's tough.
About that too, but we'll get
Oh,
there.
I know. We'll get there. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. That's like
I'll
it's
quit.
like,
I'll quit
I gotta
interrupting
separate it.
you. Get through it. You can do it.
It's pretty much self-explanatory. All the group gets there. It's pretty much the same. The first movie, they all get there. It's just turned up to 11. So when they finally land, the colonists are gone. They have like special radar that they go through. They're walking through, and they're like, holy shit, we found the colonists. We found all the people here. They're like 50, 60 people. They show up and it's a huge like breeding ground. So they're all like all the colonists are like trapped inside like goop and stuff, and like you can see them and they're like this, and they find one alive and she's like, kill me, you know, and she has a chest buster. And it comes out and they shoot her, and then in that instant there's like aliens start showing up, and that's actually a really cool reveal. It kind of highlights back to the original where it's like super slow and the music's kind of building, and then you see one unfurl behind her and it's like really cool. It's a really cool shot.
I was expecting that, and I was not disappointed when it's like, because that's the whole thing. They like blend into the environment, so you don't know what you're looking at, and then suddenly it starts moving and stuff. And you're like, oh my god!
And xenomorphs are probably my favorite creation.
The designs are so sick.
The coolest design.
All right, keep going, because I'm like, the queen xenomorph was fucking
I know the
sick
queen.
as fuck,
The queen
dude.
is so sick, dude. And it takes 16 people to operate that puppet at one time.
Are you kidding? That puppet was beautiful.
Yeah, puppet's so cool. Okay, my God,
we're unhinged.
I don't know.
We're unhinged.
I
I guess.
I know. We got it. We need to take a. I just gotta take a deep breath, everybody.
We gotta go back to writing our synopsis.
We need to start writing our synopsis, so we're not just chain reaction over here. It's like, okay, so all of that happens. The Space Marines get wiped out. They're like, you've spent like a good like 30 minutes getting used to these, getting to know them. They get wiped out in that kind of, I guess, action fashion. They shoot them, and they're so silly. There's like a subplot where the robot is there, the synthetic, he's the AI. He's the bad guy in the first one. In this one, you're expecting kind of the same thing. Oh, he's going to be a bad guy.
He's sort of a red herring, but like not a very good red herring, because it's kind of like you keep expecting him to do something bad, but he never doesn't do anything really.
Yeah, really though. He
calls the ship at the end, and he saves the girl at the very end, but that's about it.
But that's about it. So that's the thing.
I mean,
anyways,
that's nice, but
that's
wasn't
the
even
subplot where
a
you have him.
Subversion moment, really.
No, not at all. Yeah, and you find out that he's AI like immediately. Like he nicks himself. That's actually a cool scene. But anyways, you find out he's a synthetic. That's like a subplot, and then another subplot is like the company stooge. He's there, the guy, the money man.
He's like the
there,
real
so
antagonist, other than the...
Of course, right? And then the aliens themselves. But the aliens, I'm gonna go to bat for them, and they're just like they're creatures surviving, so they actually are neutral. They're like they're fine. But anyways,
I gotta
there's so much. I know, right? That's the thing. Yeah. And we'll air them out in just 2 seconds.
It's just a pile of just small things, just piling.
It is.
That's the whole thing with this movie for me.
Right. And it was just like, this movie felt just so banged out. Oh my God.
If there's 100 nitpicks, is it still a nitpick?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Or is it just a bad movie? But I know it all comes together after. My God,
there's
like
a girl.
40 minutes, and
there's a survivor.
They find a survivor, a little girl, and then that's like Sigourney Weaver's anchor to humanity, and that's what keeps her motivated to continue. And so, anyways, the only people that are left are one grunt, one Marine dude who kind of becomes like a love interest in the weirdest way for 2 seconds. Anyways, and then he dies.
Reese.
Yeah. And Rare. Oh yeah, that's right. And so he's kind of becomes this like love interest, and he's like one of the last survivors of the crew. There's like 3 left of the Marines. And he becomes like the captain and whatnot, and he's kind of running things, and then the money man like double crosses them, obviously, and then he escapes, and he goes to lock everyone out of like the protection, but then he keeps running for some reason, and then he gets attacked by and dies. Yeah, he dies off camera, right? Obviously. Right. And so, anyways, and then it just turns into a series of them. They attacked the aliens at the beginning, and now they're running for the next hour. They're running away from the aliens. They keep getting in tight spots. People get picked off. They run through the vents and everything, and then it ends with the girl getting separated from them. The little girl. Her name's Newt, which is an awkward. I don't understand why. Maybe that comes up later, but. Anyways, Newt, she falls through one of the air vents and slides away, and Sigourney Weaver's like, I got to go back for her. Then we obviously get the you can't have a good action movie without like a doomsday clock, and so it's in 20 minutes the whole place is going to explode, and Sigourney Weaver goes back to save her. Sigourney Weaver shows up inside of the alien pit, and you actually get to see how the slurm is made.
Dude, and 100%. It's the slurm, right? That was 100%.
Yeah, the slurm. So you get to see how the eggs are laid, which creates the face huggers. And Sigourney Weaver's like in it, and she's like, "My God!" and she like blasts fire everywhere, and
She like
it's
threatens them, like
it threatens. Okay, dude,
I can blow, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, okay." Like, and I'm like, "What?"
That was such a nitpick for me. It's one of my biggest nitpicks. Is I'm like, they're a hive mind, but yet like
They
couldn't
understand this
find
threat.
her,
Yeah.
and like they understand. So like I get the mother knowing the queen understanding a threat, like fire. I understand that, and then her being able to tell the the workers, the little xenomorphs, to tell them not to attack. But dude, it was goofy as shit when they like come out and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get ya, and then she's like, yo, back up.
Wait a second.
And they're like,
She's
oh,
threatening our young.
yeah, right. And I get it. That's what sucks is like it is a cool concept. It was just kind of portrayed goofily, and like it was.
The xenomorphs in this one were far less menacing. Like they're
right. It's God. Like, it was more like they were henchmen, and the queen was kind of just like the bad guy, and like. Anyways,
they barely make it out. The place blows up. They fucking
and then
get out.
They
and
survive.
Live happily ever after.
Yeah, they get out and then they hug each other in the end in the ship. And but the robot gets ripped apart in half, and that's pretty fun. But anyways, it's like it literally just becomes like it's just the two of them. They just get out and they like the little girl and Sigourney Weaver.
Kyle Reese is pretty busted up, but he.
That's right. That's right. Oh, he does make it. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. He's like asleep. That's right. They put him in the cryopod thing, and then they're gonna drift off, and the girl's like, "Are we gonna dream?" And she's like, "I'm gonna have good dreams." And it's like, cool. It's like there's closure. Sure.
So I had to look up because I barely remember the third one, but I've seen all the Alien movies except for this one up until this point. And I had to look up the third one. I'd be like, I don't remember Newt or any of them in the third one. And do you know how the third one starts, apparently? And I don't remember this at all.
Dude, I don't remember. I'm like, that's the thing. Watching this. Oh, my God. Okay. Wait.
Their ship crashes on a planet, and everyone dies but Sigourney Weaver. So Newt and Kyle Reese die right at the beginning of Alien 3. Like, they're like, I'm going to dream I'm going to have good dreams. And she's like, yes, you are. Forever. Because they crash and die. And apparently Bishop survives for some of it, but that's it. And then it's just Sigourney Weaver on this like colony planet, or this like prison colony planet, because I remember all that stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was just like, what the fuck? They're just like don't know what to do, so they just kill Newt.
Doesn't she have Bishop's head?
Yeah, she's got like a piece of him. They like salvage a piece of him for a while.
Or is that because they do that later at the end of Prometheus, or in the end of, or at the in.
God, I don't remember, man. Alien because that was the other. That was like David Fassbender's. He's the other android, and then
yeah. See, that's what I love, dude. That's where Aliens. He does great, dude. That's what Alien as a franchise is so cool when they keep. They're like, I love you and me. We both love sci-fi. That's been established, and
we love horror probably even more.
Right. I would say they're parallel, and so, but it's kind of like horror's easier to do. There's more horror that's good because the spectrum of horror is a lot different than the spectrum of sci-fi. Because sci-fi can look like the worst Doctor Who episode, or it can look like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and you just kind of like it's a farther gap. The chasm is larger in between. Where horror can be like really sick, and it could be for a cheaper budget. Anyways, this mixes it together so well, and I feel like this movie was exactly what James Cameron wanted it to be, and it's exactly what everybody wanted it to be. That's what James Cameron does the best. He goes to the money men. He goes to like Fox, and he goes to Sony, and he goes Warner Brothers, whatever studio he's working with that day. He'll go to them.
20th Century Fox, I think, is this one. If I remember,
it was. Yeah,
I just remember the OG.
The OG. Yeah, the and like the lights and shit. Yeah, but so he goes to 20th Fox, and he says like he did. This is the movie that infamous pitch that he did. Do you remember that? Do you remember hearing about this? So
about he wrote
James
like the dollar sign.
Dollar signs. Yeah, he walked in and wrote Alien on the whiteboard, and then wrote a 2 or an S, wrote Aliens, and then a dollar sign.
I hope that's
through
true,
the S.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was it could have been true as like a joke as in the pitch.
I can see it though for him because.
Totally. But it's funny because he was at this moment, he was a young cocky director. He was coming in being like, I'm gonna make some cool, because he did Terminator. It was like that was it.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that
like-
was it up until this point.
Yeah.
Because
So
I think
he-
Abyss was after this,
Right.
like
I'm
88
like,
or something, and then
I want
T2.
to clarify because I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty
it was.
sure.
Dude. Straight up, dude. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
Terminator. Oh, he did a Rambo.
No, he didn't direct any.
Oh, I think he wrote a screenplay. I'm looking at
I could see
My
that.
bad.
He was more involved with screenplays back in the day. Him and
Right,
Catherine Bigelow.
There's director.
But
Anyways, so
this
he like-
movie.
yeah.
Well, what was your? Cause no, I can imagine for those, like Gen Xers that like grew up on this movie and stuff, and probably had.
I know.
I wonder what
I
the
didn't get
reaction
something from
was at the
Travis.
initial. Oh, really? Dang! I was
Dude,
like,
I was
the
really
initial-
expecting Travis to come in with this, because this is like, I figured he would have an opinion about.
He had a
this.
week
It's
like he had a busy week too, I guess. Huh?
yeah, maybe.
But I was wondering what the initial reaction would be, because I'll be like, I bet you a lot of people were really hyped for it, and it was fucking awesome in the 80s, and I'm sure that's true because it's just kind of fun, and we didn't really get as many movies like that. Like you did, but like that's kind of what you wanted. But I also feel like there's probably a whole group of people that didn't ever see the first one because of the way this one felt marketed. It's aliens. It's just like they kind of did enough backstory at the beginning where you didn't really have to watch it.
Oh yeah, you could totally get away with like this being the first one. It's just called Aliens. Like you don't know.
That's what I mean. It's not like
it's such
Alien
a-
2, you know
two.
what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, it makes sense, even though it's like, whatever. But I don't know. Watching it now, and I had so tell me though. You said you've seen it before, but
Yeah.
it was like nostalgia. So you've
Yeah,
saw it
and
as
it's
when you were younger and enjoyed it, and then rewatched it. Now you seem flustered.
right. Well, it's more like I watched this. I remember watching this because it was like it was like this and Starship Troopers were like adult themed movies that I wasn't really allowed to watch necessarily, being like pretty young and like, like in my like 10, 8 to 10, that kind of range where it's like I'm able to watch these. And it was actually at my grandma EJ's on like one of those big ass old, the like 800-pound large screen TVs.
Oh, the TV that I
You
used to
know
have, the rear
kind of like the
projection
one you had, but I don't know if it was rear. I mean, maybe it was rear projection, but it was exactly like that style where it's like it's a big screen TV. This was back when like you had a big screen TV, and it was like I don't even know how they got it from like they stole it from an RC Willey's or something. I don't even know. Like they had this like ginormous TV. It was crazy huge, and I remember watching like, but it's funny because I remember watching like Sandlot and then like Aliens. Like I don't know why. And it was Aliens. But then I think we watched like the third one too. The one when I'm pretty sure it's the one where she's on the prison, because like that's the one where she throws the basketball behind her head and makes the shot, right? And like
I think so. And it's got the dog type aliens.
yeah, the dog type. That's the one. I thought this one had it. So the whole time I was like, where are the dog ones? And I was like, yeah, because I remember the dogs and like that was such a cool shot. And so it's like, but I remember this one too because I like it's seared in my brain when he's like, game over, man, game over, and the mech fight. So like that was like the thing I remember. Those were like the two big things I took away.
R.I.P. Bill
came at it
Paxton.
with. Well, yeah, I know. Oh, dude, I know. But anyways, and that's so cool, dude. He improvised like 100% of his lines. Like he barely had anything.
I mean,
written.
that
He
makes
was-
sense because they suck.
Yeah. No, they're great, man.
They're fine.
It's him just rambling most of the time.
Yeah,
but-
no, they're okay. I mean, I get that he's like sort of the comic relief character, even though he's mostly just like whining the whole time.
That's what, dude. This movie is it is a product of its time and place. And from its director. It came from. It's like the history of this guy is pretty small at the time. He did The Terminator, and then he did this a couple years later, and so it's like, and then he went on to do like The Abyss, which is pretty much aliens underwater. And
Yeah,
then
but it's
he,
so
or,
much
you know,
less.
like-
There's no Marines and shit. Like I don't know. Abyss is.
And that's-
but
Abyss is-
it's still got a lot going on.
you know what I mean? It's still got that same kind of like it's got the same hierarchy built inside of it. Like it has the same there's a crew. He does a lot of that. He'll do like a crew, and then he just went on to do like Terminator. Then he did True Lies. This guy's like working his way up to give Avatar. I don't know. I don't feel like James Cameron's ever done anything that is like deeply human. He does like a lot of fun acting.
Honestly,
Terminator,
watching this
closest.
is the last movie of his I've not seen. And watching this made me wish that I mean, I'm glad I finally watched it, and I'm glad. But I'm honestly like, now that I'm thinking back on his whole, because obviously the week was about James Cameron, and I've seen pretty much all of his movies. Yeah. And I'm like, honestly, I want to watch Titanic again, because I think Titanic is probably like T2 is the best, I think. But sure. Titanic is his closest to like, that's a big sweeping drama of like a historical disaster. So it's kind of, he gets to have his cake and eat it too. But if you're talking like most human, like that one by far is, and that's why that was his huge. I'm surprised he didn't go, like he made Titanic and then he's like, I'm going to spend the next 50 years making Avatar. You know what I mean? After he made Titanic, like you think he would have went a different route on like, I'm going to make the Hindenburg movie. You know,
maybe,
or something.
Right?
Like, I don't know.
I get Avatar though. I get it. For
no, I get it. And Avatar is fine. You know, it's what it is.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, this I don't know. Aliens, it's like whatever, it's a product of its time and all that. But watching it now, for me, I don't know. I had managed expectations because I'm pretty lukewarm on James Cameron in general. And I know this took like more of an action-y shift, so I was like preparing for that because I knew I wouldn't like it as much as Alien, just basically from the get-go. So I didn't have like super high expectations, but I was excited to watch it because it's one of those movies that's been on my watch list for a really long time.
Well, and it's like we both like the Alien franchise. We both we're like you said, we've talked about this before.
I'm rooting for it.
We were right. I'm rooting for it,
but it keeps disappointing me because
it does. But
it's so
I'll
cool,
be there.
but it sucks.
Yeah,
they got another Alien. It's what's crazy is because they have another Alien coming out and like they're going into production or something. I forget who's directing it now, but they also just had an Alien video game come out last year, and they have an Aliens video game again coming out this year. So it's like there's like three big video games in the franchise, and then it's like the movies, and they all seem to be based off, except for Alien Isolation, which takes more inspiration from the first movie. Yeah. But they all seem to be based off this movie, Aliens, you know. But watching it, man, I really liked the setup, and I think the idea of there's this colony there now, and the Marines got to go back and investigate why the colony suddenly went quiet. Like the setup is pretty solid. Like for a sequel, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm down. I'm there for it. But like I said, it's like on looking back and on paper, I feel like this movie's pretty great, and I feel like I will remember it more fondly. But while watching it, it just kept being tiny nitpick after tiny nitpick after tiny nitpick that I was like getting frustrated, and I kept getting taken. My suspension of disbelief kept taking me out of the movie because so many things would just be like so many just like dumb little decisions where it's like, oh, well, we need to do this to make the plot move forward or whatever. And like the first scene, I rolled my eyes a lot, let's just say. And
yeah, yeah.
The first scene, I feel bad because I know a lot of people really love this movie, but the first scene I really rolled my eyes on is like where you're saying when she's like, I can do stuff too, and she gets in the like loader, hydro loader, mech lifter or whatever, and she's like showing off, and I'm like, this is to the point where the plot that they want to happen later is actively affecting the world building, not just the characters are making decisions that are dumb and out of character just to fit the plot. But now it's to the point that the world building is there just so they can have a cool mech fight at the end. Because, like, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, this thing is not has any real purpose. Like, this is shittier than a forklift. Like, you're telling me that, like, it would be one thing if it was like a giant spider that can, like, anchor itself in 0G, but they've got artificial gravity figured out, apparently. And so it's just like, I'm watching this thing and I'm like, this does not even... I don't know, like, that was the first one, and it just kept happening, like, so many small things, like, later, the crew's coming to pick them up, and they're like, we gotta get out of here, man, we're sitting ducks, we're gonna nuke it from orbit, bro, and, like, they're like, all right, let's go pick them up, and then the guy gets on the ship, and there's, like, a bunch of slime, and he's like, uh-oh, there's slime here, and then she's like, don't worry about that, let's go. Let's go pick them up, it's cool, we're not on a hostile alien planet or anything.
Yeah.
And then they get attacked so the ship can crash. Like, it's just so many things like that. And it's like the whole time Bill Paxton's whining, and then suddenly when he's actually facing death, he's a badass or something. Like that seemed like really weird, jarring shift. But they're like, they go down to shoot. They're like, all right, you're under the thermal reaction.
That got me.
Take
that
your
got
clips
me
out.
triggered.
And I'm like,
I was
okay, sure. You're going to make it so you're going to make them even more vulnerable. So this is just a giant shooting gallery for the aliens to come kill these Marines. Like this is just beyond stupid that they're putting them in the situation to the point he takes his clips, but then yet they still are using the clips.
Yeah, they still fired their
and
weapons.
They don't even bring it up again, but later they're like, oh, so it turns out that it actually is overheating now. So now we got a ticking clock, so it's going to explode. We better get off this planet before it goes thermonuclear.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, that just could have been handled way simpler and more effectively. It was just like
easy,
convoluted for no reason. I don't know.
I thought it was, in my memory right now, I don't think this is how it worked, but I thought when the ship crashed, when the alien attacked the two crew on the ship that's supposed to come pick them up,
they do say something about that. Yeah, they say
reactor?
You're right. They say the damage from the ship. They do say it was like something. It's too damaged now from the ship crash.
Damaged. Right, but I got a little
something like that.
But I got a little confused on their they didn't do the greatest job of completely separating where they were. Like there were times where I'm like, okay, they're in this like established colony, and then they tried to go back to their ship, but then they like driving that weird, that really clunky tank too, which is it's so funny. There's half the time the imagery in this is sweeping and beautiful and really huge, and it's super sci-fi and the set design and everything's beautiful, but then some stupid dinky car will show up and drive through, and I'm like, and I did read that
it breaks through the wall, and it's basally just styrofoam.
It's totally, you can totally tell it's literally fiberglass and foam, and you can see it warp when it comes through when it breaks through the scenery. But anyways, besides that, that kind of stuff, that's easy to
That's what I'm saying. Any one of these things, I totally could have let go.
Yeah,
but it's just there's so many of them that it's hard for me. Yeah. While watching it to be invested the way I want to be invested, because it's every time I start getting into it, there'll be some weird fucking thing where I'm just like, really? Come on, what? That's dumb, or huh?
Well, the thing that bothered me, honestly, is the stupid fucking girl's name. Why were they oh, Rebecca? And she's like, no one calls me Rebecca. My name's Newt.
Dude,
I was like, why?
What
is it? If she was my parents called me Newt or something, or
so
I don't know. It just
does
weird...
in your version how they find out her name Rebecca? It shows that she finds the plaque in the vent.
The plaque
what
in the vent.
I was literally was an eye roll where I was like,
yeah.
Wait, she just happens to find this plaque amongst all the garbage that says this girl's name.
Yeah.
And then it's totally pointless. Why even have that when she tells you her name literally 5 minutes later?
Right.
It's that's just bad screenwriting, I think, because it's just pointless. They don't even have a moment at the end where it's Rebecca. She's just always Newt after that. She could have just finally gotten her to break out and be like, come on, sweetie, what's your name? And she's like, oh, it's Newt, finally. Or just call her a normal name like Rebecca. I don't know why they call her Newt. To give her characterization, I guess. But
I mean, yeah, they could have just called her the child throughout it until she was comfortable with them. It just it's odd because things were they rushed. I could definitely tell that this definitely was structured between two studios, and I feel like James Cameron did the best he could with what he had, and I think it's I think he had to appease the US studio a lot to get the financing to make it look as good as it does. Because it looks beautiful.
It does look pretty good, and I
look amazing. Everything, all the details, the guns, everything about it looks cool.
Yeah, costume design's cool. The giant flamethrowers that are on the Steadicam rig are pretty dope, and
yeah, that's super sick. And it's edited really well too. I like the editing.
There's a lot.
But it's weird pacing. I don't know. It's weird. The pacing's weird. Edited, each scene, I'm like, God, this is a really solid edited scene. I like the camera work. I liked everything about this scene. But when I step back and look at the whole movie, I'm like, God, there's huge jumps that they take. There's huge time shifts in there where I'm like, okay, now they're here, they're back here in this room together. and like, but how they all get here now, and like, what's the and the aliens are like conveniently leaving them alone for large swaths of time. Where I'm like,
that's
why the
another.
aliens,
That is
aliens
one
leave them alone?
thing. That's another thing.
Yeah.
I read is they cut out of the director's cut. There's a section which is it's honestly it answers that question, but it's still pretty dumb. So they set up these turrets in these like tunnels, and it's pretty tense to watch the turret because they have the like readouts for the bullets, so they're getting constantly attacked by wave after wave of aliens. And
cool. Okay.
But you don't see it. You just see the turret. You hear the turrets, and you see the bullets running out.
Right.
And that happens like 4 times. Like they're constantly getting attacked by these aliens, but the turrets keep running out. And I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, so they just have where'd they get they literally just have giant. They're like bigger than a man. They have like 5 of them. All of a sudden, like where'd they get that?
I know,
And
right?
so that's probably why they kind of cut it too, is because it's kind of repetitive. But that answers the like they are getting attacked by the swarm once they're hunkered down near the end before. Which is actually a pretty good scene when they're like coming through the ceiling and stuff.
That's sick.
Right
like,
before that, it's like they're all attacking, and then they're like, oh, they're looking for another way in and all that, and I don't know, man.
That's what we will remember. You will, I think you will like. You'll think back on this and like remember like the good parts of it.
As a broad stroke, I gave this 3 stars on Letterboxd, but it's a broad stroke. It's a 4-star movie. My experience was a 2-star movie.
Yeah.
And so I split the difference kind of because it's like, I do think some of the stuff is nitpicky. I do think, but it's just so many small things like hurt my viewing experience. But those are not the things I'm really going to remember. I'm going to remember, unfortunately, my first impression, which is like a kind of annoyed frustration. With this movie, but overall, when I think about the broad strokes of the movie, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking dope. Like, that was cool. And the good scenes do really stand out. Like that scene, the scene with the face hugger in the lab with Newt and her.
That's so good.
That was like the best. And then the climax,
dude, when he yeets through that window, so brutal.
I was laughing my ass
off. I watched it twice because it happened, and Victoria didn't see it, and so I rewound it. I was like, Victoria, you gotta watch this part.
She's like smashing it with a mirror, and he's just like head first.
I understand the. I know the pieces. I know the pieces and movement. I know that they fired the gun at the window, and he jumped through an already shattered window. So like it was tempered, it shattered. So he just it was very easy. I understood that, but watching
it's just goofy as fuck.
It's so cool. It's like that's kind of that level of like intense machoism and stuff. To me, I'm like that's kind of like fun. That it's like he's like action packed. Go for it.
And it's like it's heroism, so you're rooting for it because he's there to save other people. Right.
And it's that whole scene is shot really well. Even that part, as silly as it is, it's actually really cool. Later though, when it's just them firing, when they finally before Bill Paxton dies in that scene, it's like when they're firing at the aliens, I'm like, this is like 12 minutes of shit. It's just all it is muzzle flashes. I'm not really that excited. I'm not really
times. And then when all the Marines died earlier in the movie, I was noticing that too. I'm like, I know occasionally they would cut to like one frame of an alien taking a hit or something because he's basically a cardboard cutout. So they don't want to stay on him for too long. They're firing shots at him.
No, they actually were. They were hemorrhaging money, dude. This movie hemorrhaged a lot of money.
It's just like so many shots of them just firing this weird machine gun. I don't know.
That was if you. I've been really slacking, dude. I can't believe this week really caught up with me. I was supposed to post some behind the scenes of the other movie we did, and then there's a behind the scenes. They have like YouTube has a whole the like actual documentary that comes with the DVD, and it's pretty interesting, but they highlight they were very proud of the gun design and very proud of how the guns worked. And it's just like you could tell where they put, and that's the thing. Yeah, it's cool. You can tell where they put the heart. Like that's how come this is like something I wanted to get into, and I didn't look too deeply into it. You probably saw some about this, but the UK production, the side that was like, oh sure, you can have like all of our alien props and all of our alien, design and everything that we worked on to make Alien, you can have that for this movie, but they hated James Cameron, and they were appalled with what he was doing with the Alien franchise.
Really?
And so it is kind of like, that's like, you can tell, like, that's how come I'm like a little heartbroken, because I didn't know this as a kid, obviously, and I thought like I loved regular Alien 2 because I thought it was creepy, and then I liked this one because it was like guns shooting, and like the aliens were still fucking cool in this. So it's like and you got to see more of them. So that was like, I was like, yeah, I get to see more aliens.
Right.
But now as an adult, I'm like, I definitely want I want less is more. Clearly, that's what rules about Alien in the first place, is they do that a lot anyways, where it is less is more for the first hour and a half.
The first Alien is just Jaws in space, sort
It
of.
is. Right. It's
my biggest problem with Alien as a franchise, period, and especially fucking Prometheus and Alien Covenant, is like, and it starts with this movie though, and it's like, I'm fine with it in this movie, but it's like the over explanation of what the aliens are and what they do.
totally.
It takes away the mystique and makes them less scary.
Right.
And so by the time Prometheus rolls around, where it's just like, no, it's actually this type of alien is manufacturing this alien and blah blah blah.
I don't
blah,
even.
David
I know.
the robot,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I mean,
fucked,
but
because-
actually, I like that they see. That's the thing. This franchise, it rules so hard in the realm of sci-fi. Like, I want like someone. They need to make like 6 books. Someone needs to write like a series
There
of
is.
this, because like. Though I'm sure, I'm sure there's, but it's like the synthetics like being involved from the beginning, or at least involved heavily now, and it's like, that's so cool. I like that AI, like things that can live forever, but they're so close to human, but they're like, they aren't quite human, and it's like they are.
I like that, but I'm also like, why? Like,
oh, I know, right?
Like,
but then
Bishop
then you,
feels pain. Why?
I know, right? For
Or
real,
at least,
though, why?
I mean, at least it seems like he feels pain. He gets stabbed and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely
You
But
know?
it would, but that actually would be really interesting if they made it where they need to do that in AI.
But then
I'm
later
sure they
he's
have
cut
to.
in half and he's like, "See, I'm pretty cool for a robot."
Yeah, right. He's doing fine. But that's the thing. I guess it's like maybe he experiences surprise, and he was more surprised than her. But anyway, because it did. Even watching it this time, I remember that he died in the movie, but I like totally forgot how. And so when he gets like blasted through the chest, I was like, oh shit! I was like, hell yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, dude, it's like I kind of lost my train of thought.
I know. I
where we
was
were.
cracking up when the queen alien just rides up the elevator.
Oh no, yeah, dude, that is so no. It like that. The whole. Can we just get down? It sucks because this movie does this. Every scene that comes and is like every scene that is so well crafted. It's like it's got the suspense. The music actually hits pretty good, and like it's cool. They like punctuate it with something kind of dumb or something too extreme. It's like this was definitely fraught with the like, I want to take aliens, but I want to make it action. I want to make it bigger. And I want to show more. And it's like, yeah,
certainly more
fun.
bombastic, but it's just
Right. But it also leads you to the fucking queen taking the elevator, which is the only reason the queen had to take the elevator is because puppet limitations, obviously. It's like if there was CG or
it would just like crawl up through the vents.
It would crawl up
and-
through the side. Yeah, exactly. It would do what
That's
an alien would
fine.
do. But it's fine, but it does make for like some of the greatest like imagery. Like watching it, just like when she's like, oh, and it's like coming
I
up.
wish it just would have stopped.
Yeah.
There's so many like I don't know, man. Like it's all fine. It's
I know.
it's all
We're
fine.
definitely
I
we're
just-
getting we're deep into this, dude. We're already 50 minutes in. Can we?
No, we are fucked. This is gonna be long because there's a
because you're
lot.
not done. You're like, I'm not done.
I'll never be
Right.
done.
I know. I understand. I mean, what was your I know we're jumping around, but
No,
what
it's
was
okay.
your favorite scene?
Yeah, talking about more positives. 'cause
What did you truly take from this?
There's a lot of good moments, you know. The climax was good, but honestly, the best scene was when they wake up and there's the face huggers in the lab, and they were like chasing them through the lab because the face huggers are super creepy. And
that shot so well, yeah.
That
The lighting
scene,
and everything from
that
like the
scene
lighting
was
from the
super
heater
great.
and shit. Yeah.
and there's all the tension, and then you're right. Then they the goofy
And they
with the head,
punctuate
the
it.
dive.
With, yeah.
and they're like, "I got him," and they just like blow him to bits, which is fine.
Well, I know, and that actually is like that's kind of cool when she like traps it with its tail, and it's like there, and then he comes with his foot and shoots it, and it's like it's all like blocked really well, and it's for that action. That's the thing. It's like I'm happy to have more action in my Alien franchise. That's great. It's
they
like Alien does
kill-
have action,
Yeah.
But it's like like literally, like I think you commented about this in somewhere on Reddit or somewhere, but you said that it's similar to freaking
Starship Troopers, but it's
Starship
serious.
Troopers,
And Starship Troopers is a fucking satire.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then I wanted to say,
Especially the ultra macho characters, spacemen.
can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
This movie was shot in the same location as Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, really?
We couldn't have two different extremes of the Marine Corps. Like
That's
you have like Full Metal Jacket is like is the duality of man, is like it is the anti-war movie, and it's still cool. Like it still has that like
it kind of does
that
both.
machoism.
Yeah, it's got its
right. It's
because
still
it talks about
it's
how
a commentary.
it grinds you up and turns you into that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
You become the soulless killing machine. You're not like, I'm gonna join because I'm badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm gonna get poontang. That's I just wanted to say
Every
that
time.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But-
Every time they come out of their mouths, dude.
Yeah,
It's like, and then every time that girl is trying to be too cool, the other guy's just like, "Fuck yeah, Rodriguez," you know, or whatever.
Yeah, well, no, and it's funny because I liked her.
She was the best one, best Marine.
Her backstory is cool. This doesn't make it into the movie, but like her character backstory is that she's actually from she's from a prison, and like a prison where she lost her sentence to go to the Marine Corps.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's
That's
like
some cool
her and
world
someone
building.
else from it. Yeah, her and the other dude that die together, they like come from the same prison, and they're like they have like a weird love interest, and it's like, but it's kind of like she's so masculine and stuff, and I'm like it's a cool dynamic, but like we didn't get any of that in the movie. She just was cool. But anyways,
Real quick, and then I want to hear your favorite part, but I just remembered one of my other beefs I would feel bad about not mentioning. It's not even, this is more of a personal preference, but for how of a badass R-rated action horror sci-fi this movie is, there are no cool deaths. Like nobody dies cool. The main guy you
The
want
robot.
to die, that's it.
the robot,
Yeah,
barely,
and it's because
cool,
it's because they
but-
can, it's because he doesn't bleed, and so they can show it.
which is so weird though.
But I'm
because
like, are they trying to
like
make
you
this
said,
PG-13 or something? Because
Yeah, because it was rated R, right? It has to be.
it has to be. For the
I'm gonna look
cursing,
up
though,
it.
it's not even
Shit.
that violent. Like,
Dude, it might be. No, it's R. Yeah, R of course.
yeah,
But anyways,
the guy got sprayed with acid, and that was cool. But Bill Paxton basically gets sucked out of frame.
Yeah.
The cool Marine chick blows herself up in the elevator, which is just a ball
Dude,
of fire.
Actually, you just took me onto something. I think every death is off screen except for the robot.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Pretty much
Dude,
like
I
getting
think
pulled
every
off a
death is-
camera. You don't see
Yeah,
it.
they're like all off screen.
The main bad guy, the fucking money man suit guy, is running away, and you just basically get the shot of the camera looking down at him and like, ah!
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's it. And
You get
it's
the
like,
Jurassic Park
if
shot.
you were gonna, yeah, exactly. If you were like, give me one shot of a prosthetic fucking mouth going into the dude's skull for like a couple frames, like you can do that. Just do that. And I know James Cameron's not afraid to do that. I mean, he is
right?
now. He only does PG-13 movies because that's what makes the money. He
But
touts the line.
Terminator's like fucking
Terminator
like,
1 and 2,
you know,
got it, man.
what?
It's like
Yeah,
there's quite a
what?
bit of violence in those movies, and so I'm like, I don't know. That was just like that was
Huh.
that was
Yeah, I
just
didn't-
another thing I was kind of disappointed by. I know that's just me being a shitty gorehound, but I'm just like,
I know.
I'm
yeah,
like,
right.
I was waiting for that guy to get his comeuppance, and his death was so disappointing. And then Bill Paxton just basically is like, "Oh no, the aliens are getting me! Die, you son of a bitch!" And then like gets eaten off the screen, or whatever they do with him. They take him back to impregnate him because apparently that's what they do in this movie. I don't know. I just it's all frustrating. Anyway, what was your favorite part, Jordan?
God, dude, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the, like, it's, so that's what's so cool. Alien to me, it's got so many memorable things. So in Alien 3, that's the one where Sigourney Weaver's sitting there and she's like breathing really heavy, and it comes right next to her, and the mouth opens and the little mouth comes out right next to her face, and it's like dripping and gooey. That I thought that happened in this one, because I thought she hides in the thing, but she hides in the locker in the first one.
Yeah.
All of them mixed together. They blend
I
together.
kinda
All the good
wanna
parts
watch
blend
Alien
together.
3 because it's like the only
Yeah,
reason I
I
watched it and skipped the second one.
Yeah, which is
It's
so
'cause
funny.
it-
I'm like, why'd you do that?
Well, it's because I was obsessed with David Fincher and I wanted to watch
right.
his filmography. So I went, when I was like 15 when I first
Yeah.
discovered him, or 14 or whatever. So I watched all of his movies that were out at the time. And Alien 3 I watched, and I was like, yeah, that was fine. But now I want to rewatch it again because I don't remember it that well. And coming off of these two, I kind of want to see because his directing trademark is still there. So I wonder.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like that one might be
Well, and
underrated. And even
I was
Floor's
just
got
looking-
some moments. Like
Well,
Floor's
dude,
got some good gore, dude, for sure.
I was looking at Resurrections, and like, if fucking Jean-Pierre Jeunet is so weird, and it looks really weird, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
That's
I
another
want to say I
movie.
have, but I.
That's another director we were talking about that I felt like he was everywhere. And I'm like, wait, you don't know Jean-Pierre Jeunet? And then I looked him up. I'm like, oh, it's like Amelie and City of Lost Children. That's pretty much it.
That's it, yeah.
For
And
like
then,
the big ones, you know. He's got a bunch of
Right.
French movies, but
Well, dude, and I love that Sigourney Weaver's like, it's her franchise. It's cool. Anyways,
what's your favorite part?
my favorite part is the I love the revelation of standing in the pit of all the babies, standing in she's like there and you can see them, and she like turns around and you see it get laid.
The big
you
slurm
know?
butt.
And then-
Yeah, that's
the big
super
slurm
intense.
butt. And like that's and then you get that full fucking glory shot of the queen. It's so cool.
The Queen is so
The queen is
sick.
such a cool design. So I mean that would probably be, which is like
it feels so
technically
small
the start of the
scale
climax.
though. Even consider
know.
like there's a lot of aliens there, but like think about that shot in that room with all the aliens all cramped and then the queen in there. Like, yeah, it's a cool queen puppet and it's really cool design and everything. But now think back to Alien, that huge, massive like matte painting shot when they descend down, and it's like an auditorium full of
the
eggs.
I know, dude.
Like it's just
Oh,
got
don't
the
get me
scope,
wrong.
buddy.
Alien is, which
I'm
I
not
still
even trying to
stand, like,
compare them that often because they're
yeah.
so different. But it's just like
Yeah,
scenes like that. I'm just like, I don't know. Like it feels like such a downgrade in a lot of elements for me. But it's fine. It'll make a good video game.
Right.
So I'm glad they're making a lot of video games out of it.
I know, right? See, that's where I'm like,
I want to be.
feel
I
like-
want to be a space marine killing fucking xenomorphs. Like fuck yeah.
right.
Give me that.
I feel like
It's a great
Alien would
video.
work. Well, and we didn't even go into Alien vs Predator, which is totally like
Oh, yeah.
off on its own thing. But I actually remember really liking that one as it being the actiony. But it's like what's cool about Alien vs Predator. I remember it being less. There was like you didn't see. I swear you see more Alien in this movie than you do in Alien vs Predator. Like you see a
Probably.
lot of them, and they kind of have their own infighting. But it's like I don't know. It was a cool divide between the human and the alien doing
I
their own
agree.
shit.
Alien vs
That
Predators
mixed together.
was fun, and then
Was-
Alien
yeah.
vs Predator Requiem has got some good ass gore at least, which is what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like. At that point, if it's schlocky, but I'm like, give me a hard R schlock,
Well,
and
that's-
that'll keep my brain moist with
Yeah,
the goop that I
You're-
need.
the just tiniest drops of dopamine will finally hit the back of your spinal cord, and
Yeah.
you'll finally smile again. But I don't know, dude. The Queen, that's like I got excited for that, and then I know it's dumb, but I mean the mech fight is really cool.
It
I
was
know.
cool. Them
know.
falling down into the.
Yeah,
It was cool. It was just like the foreshadowing for it.
I
was
know.
just like, really, bud?
No, and I didn't even. I know what you mean. It's like that. It actually kind of made me think about the foreshadowing that didn't happen when they were loading loading those huge missiles into the.
Oh,
there were
yeah.
already like 4 missiles loaded into this thing, and then they never came into play later. And so you're like, oh, okay. But I guess maybe that's what caused the ship to explode.
Had such
harder
a
when it
triumphant
crashed.
explosion, I guess.
Yeah,
But if
there-
that was
there
the
so much-
catalyst for like a major plot point, they should have explained it better. I don't
They should have at least. Well, that's the thing. I thought this movie did a pretty good job at keeping you like it wasn't too confusing in that sense.
No,
but
I was
then-
entertained
but-
and it was straightforward. Like I was just
right, but
like
it
I
was.
said-
There were certain things where I'm kind of just like he's like they do it. They did a lot of exposition dump for like things where it's like it could have just been explained in action because when he's like look at that vent and then they're all standing there and then it's like and he's like yeah that's bad.
that's the bad
That's-
bit.
That's real bad.
That's it turns out the thing we briefly mentioned is happening, but not because of the reason we thought it was going to happen of this other thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I got quite a handful of I got a handful of Reddits. Let's see which ones I don't know which
I'll give you a
ones
little
are.
money minute real quick while you
Give
just
me-
mill it over.
Yeah, give me a money.
They-
minute.
You want to know why Alien still exists in the zeitgeist and just is everywhere
And
today?
why James
Even
Cameron
though-
makes the most expensive movies ever? It's 'cause-
I know, right? Well, I don't even know. I don't know how that happened exactly. I'm pretty sure he found some like Titanic treasure and he brought it up, and then the Smithsonian was like, "Here, we're gonna give you like $80 billion," and he just was like,
probably.
and he's gonna fund his own like. He's pretty sure he has his own production company now, right?
He's
Or
got
at least he has his own. He has his own like deep sea diving company that does his like you know, I don't know what he does.
Yeah,
he
I
makes,
don't really
He
understand.
makes movies. But anyways, he is a crazy rich dude now that makes crazy movies, and this movie got him some money because it was 18 million to produce, which is pretty expensive, but not. I don't know.
That's not as bad as you would think, because you can tell that they kind of like where they spent their money and then how they kind of tried to keep it up and clean it up and not go all out.
Yeah.
Because had
if
he
you
made
look
it
at, like,
now, it would have been fucking insane.
Because
you know?
if you look at Terminator, he got like almost 7 million for Terminator to make that, and that Terminator grossed 70, almost 80 million dollars.
God damn, that's
That's
for a debut.
That's pretty fucking baller for a debut. And then this movie was a straight up smashing success because Alien was a huge success. This was 18 million to produce, and it grossed 131 million dollars.
That's chunky for the 80s.
That's dude. That's a fat stack, and that's like,
well, that's why.
Like, because and that's why I think that's just why it's like Alien will always be around every, like.
Well, we'll see, because like, I mean, they're gonna do another movie, and so I feel like a lot of people kind of like Prometheus, but like Prometheus and Alien Covenant were trash, man.
I mean, I guess it's gonna be us, dude. We're gonna turn into our dads. Like, I'm just gonna be like, that's like what. That's like, I don't know. That's kind of who kept my love for Alien going. Is that he loved it because when he was young, he was like, Alien was fucking dope, and it's like, and I was like, yeah. Now I get it.
I'll always be there. Yeah, like I'll definitely go see the new one. It's like Alien Homunculus or something. It's called. It's something like that. something kind of dumb.
Yeah, Alien put back together.
Yeah. Back for more aliens. Oh yeah, what was the tagline? It was the tagline for this movie is "This time it's war."
Oh, is that what it? Oh, God. Oh, dude, remember when we used to do taglines?
I do taglines on the.
I forgot
on the Podbean.
Oh, on the pod. Okay, cool. And yeah, on Spotify too. It posts the tagline, which is cool. That's what I like, because it's like, dude, Alien tagline in space. No one can hear you scream.
That's like one of the best of all. That's iconic, dude.
Sickest fucking taglines ever, dude.
This is gonna be a stupid long episode.
Okay.
Right, so Third Bueller says, and he likes it, so I want to get his input on it. So.
I'm glad that you do, because I do too. I don't know.
I like it. I feel like we spent the last hour shitting on it, but there is a lot of good things to like, and I think a lot of it, again, I think
it's sci-fi horror, so like I'm already automatically loving it.
Like I'll still take it out, or 9 out of 10 of the movies that big $100 million plus movies in the box offices these days. Most of the time, I'll take it.
Oh, totally.
And it's aliens, so it's like, even though they all kind of suck after the first one, they're still awesome. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Of course, yeah.
Anyway, so Third Bueller says, Aliens remains one of my top favorite films of all time. It is superb from beginning to end, and Cameron is a master storyteller. There are plenty of documentaries and deep dive discussions about it all over YouTube, and they could probably break down why it still thrives as an all-time movie classic better than I can. But I do feel the need to say this. It works because it builds and expands far beyond the setting of the initial film. It does what any good sequel should. Instead of just giving us more of the same or just reinventing the main themes of the first film, it instead spends its time upping the ante on what we think we know about the universe and its horrible acid for blood antagonists. It gives us a bigger glimpse of the space-traveling future that Alien merely supposes, such as the salvage ship and the Earth station, and a nice slice of what Weyland-Yutani executives are surely like, and the colonial marines and their amazing machines and operations. It feels like these things were so well thought through and built upon. Now, this was only the mid-'80s, which means it was pre-internet and CGI, of course, so nothing is too radical with the future tech, but its military features and designs are very inventive, and much of it still holds up today. The props, concepts, and art direction have strongly influenced a huge array of sci-fi films and video games for years and years since. Try to look at the Halo games or Starship Troopers or Edge of Tomorrow and not see some Aliens DNA in there. In many ways, Aliens barely even relies on the first film at all, choosing instead to ratchet forward in these all-new directions with a whole new cast of characters and arcs to follow. It knows there's plenty of world building and territory to explore with this universe, and it just goes for it. I dare say, because of its achievements, to me it is the superior film. And I totally acknowledge how incredible the first Alien is. So yeah, I'm gushing, and I could go on and on. It's just one of my forever classics. I even think it could have been released in theaters at its director's cut length, and might have even blown us all away even more. Even what landed on the cutting room floor kicks all the ass. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, I love that passion, dude. That's great.
There's no denying it does build on the universe, and it does way more world building, which I really like.
I love it. Yeah, and it feels so real. Like it feels super grounded in its world building.
It feels like a sci-fi universe that's exists.
We love it.
We like it.
That's the thing. We like it.
Personally, I'm glad they went for expanding the xenomorph mythology, but I personally liked it when that's my element. But that's a personal preference. That's nothing wrong with the quality. Of course they're gonna go that route.
And I think that's kind of hard. It's inevitable. You have to. You
can't, because then it would be kind of a retread. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it's just this spooky stalking alien.
Right. Oh crap! I had. Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank you. That was. I'm glad you like it. I'm a fan of Alien, so I'm excited to kind of go down the rabbit hole again and see.
This podcast is already running long, and there's a couple more comments, and they're pretty long, so I won't read them. But go to the Reddit, go read all these guys. They're more like middle of the ground comments as well. But I wanted to read this guy's just because it's like I do feel like I don't want to be overly negative. Usually we are really positive about a lot of the movies we watch. So.
Well, I was gonna say
I feel bad shitting on it, but it's just like I'm just like just because I didn't like it doesn't mean I don't think it takes away from its accomplishments. I feel like a lot of what I didn't like is more personal choice and not, necessarily problems. Like I do think the script kind of suffers, but I mean, other than whatever.
Well, and I think it just comes from young writers and being pulled between studios and being just, rewrites and having it was like Sigourney Weaver was definitely the only reason she came back is so that she could have more control over her character. So just, I feel like what we got, it could have been worse. There could have been it could have been messier.
Oh, 100%. This was a pretty, as far as sequels go, I am happy with this. You know what I mean? And it feels weird.
Well, and James Cameron, he fucking knocks sequels out of the park, honestly. Because I dare say Avatar 2 is better. Terminator 2 is definitely better.
Avatar 2 is much better than the first. He does the origin story, or someone else does it, and then he's like, "Let me build upon it." And I think that's his thing. He takes something and he runs with it. Where's the Abyss 2 though? I'll take it because have you seen the Abyss? I feel like he made a fuckload of money. Yeah, you.
No, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I love the Abyss.
I'm not talking to my fucking feet over here.
Well, I thought you were just kind of podcast land.
You tell me. Have you?
Well, come on the Reddit. Tell me if you've seen the Abyss. That's kind of that's kind of the discussion I need to kind of prompt that on the James Cameron part, because it'd be like, hey, his other movies are cool too, just because
Yeah.
This was fun, dude. This month we're doing different directors. I'm excited to see the next director.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it for this, right? Travis didn't call, so that's Aliens for y'all. Check it out. So this next week we're doing Denis Villeneuve, and we ended up voting on Sicario. Ended up winning.
I know, which is nice because I haven't seen it, and
I've been wanting to rewatch it. So.
But I do want. I want to see his other movies too. So it's I'm excited to see. I've only ever seen Arrival and Blade Runner, I think, and Dune.
Yeah,
and Dune.
That's why I didn't put.
Oh no, I saw Prisoners.
Prisoners rocks, and Enemy's weird. It's cool though. I like doppelganger movies for some reason. They got a weird scratch for me, but I really wanted to see Incendies, but I think now's the time. Everyone keeps talking about it. It didn't win, unfortunately, because it's more of his earlier, lesser-known ones. And but I really want to go back and watch that now, and but Sicario, I'm excited to rewatch because I've only seen it the once, but it sticks with me still.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm excited to see it because all the movies I've seen by him are a little more as epic as they are. They're very human and they are very intimate in their story.
I'm interested to see your opinion because it's now he's known for Dune is this crazy sci-fi world. Blade Runner is this crazy sci-fi world. Arrival is sci-fi but grounded.
But
they're
there's,
all-
and I think Blade Runner is super grounded too.
They
even
all
though
are.
it's a huge world.
He
but-
does a good job making human, but like
Well, dude,
this
yeah.
movie's about fucking. I don't even know. I don't even know how to start the fucking border control. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's like
right,
way.
right.
There's no sci-fi at all, so it's.
That's what
That would be
I'm
interesting
because
to go
all of
back to,
all of
'cause
this stuff
Prisoners
that I've
is like
seen,
that too.
all the stuff I've seen. I guess Prisoners isn't sci-fi bent, but most of his stuff is like is heavily sci-fi. So it's like
To see his really dark,
it's kind of like
gritty, grounded shit. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
kind of nice. So anyway, next week, Sicario. Watch it, check it out. Come comment on the Reddit. Tell us what you think. All that good shit. Come to the Reddit to see what next week's director is gonna be. I don't know.
I know. I'm excited to see. We don't even know. We're just we're spitballing whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whoever we feel like.
Whoever the fuck I feel
And
like.
come
It's probably
on
gonna be
and-
like Wes Anderson or David Lynch or something.
Comment. Oh, Wes Anderson's got a new movie coming out. Did you see that?
You better believe I saw that
Hell,
trailer.
hell yeah, dog.
Anyway.
Yeah, come to our Patreon, and you can get all of our special stuff there. We got a sticker of the month club you can hop onto, and
Yeah,
you know we got some goodies, dude.
We
Some bonus
designed
podcasts,
those stickers
hours.
because we're moody, artsy boys, and we just gotta
know.
get our art out.
Yeah, man, I love to draw.
And then
And,
you get
if
the
you-
stickers.
If you'd like to call in and leave us a voicemail, you can dial 801-613-1501. Let us know your opinion on the movies we're watching, or just movies that you're watching in general. We can just kind of riff with you, talk with you, get to know you. We love it. We love seeing you on Reddit.
Huzzah! Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Thanks for listening. If you made it this far,
Yeah,
thanks for dealing with our ramblings.
I know.
Okay,
right.
goodbye.
Okay.